Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi in China. This is the biggest story in the world today. The equity markets are coming off one of their best weeks since 2020. We're seeing a lot of momentum in the markets right now as investors are reading between the lines that the Fed has shifted its stance to a more dovish position. Well, this is a whole new week. I know Nancy Pelosi is a controversial figure. I live in California and I can't say I'm her biggest fan, but I will say she's been very successful in maintaining her power. She first came into office in 1987 in the House of Representatives. 1987, that's when Ronald Reagan was in office. That's a long time ago. Think about how many presidents she's endured: Reagan, Bush Sr., Clinton, George W. Bush, Obama, Trump, and now Biden. Her district is in San Francisco, where about one-third of the residents are of Asian descent. As of right now, Nancy Pelosi has actually arrived in Taiwan. She's landed. The whole world is watching right now. Nancy Pelosi has been a very vocal critic of China and their human rights record and publicly protested Beijing over the Tiananmen Square massacre. And guess what? Beijing never forgot that. So why does all this matter? Well, it matters a lot. Taiwan is responsible for over 50% of the world's semiconductor manufacturing. If the past 2 years have taught us anything, it's that the world relies on semiconductors a lot, and any country that controls that resource has a lot of power. A lot of big ticket items that you can think of that had shortages had to do with semiconductors. It's no surprise that the US is pouring billions into semiconductor manufacturing, so we're not as exposed as we are right now. But just like a lot of things, it takes a lot of time for these things to materialize. So for now, we need Taiwan and we need China for our semiconductors. China has publicly said that they will respond with serious consequences if Nancy Pelosi goes to Taiwan. And by serious consequences, they are referring to military action. President Xi has spent 10 years building a brand as a tough guy who stands firm against the United States. He is expected to run for a third term, which makes this the perfect time for him to show his strong stance against the United States. Of course, Nancy Pelosi is not going over there to provoke a war. But think about this. We're talking about the two most powerful countries in the world, and all it takes is a mistake or a miscalculation for things to get out of control. It's not like this has never happened before in history, and it's not like we don't have enemies who aren't rooting for a misstep. The reason China cares so much about this trip is because they want Taiwan to be recognized as their territory. Nancy Pelosi is third in line for the US presidency. That makes her a very high level US official, and she's going to poke the bear. China has historically been known as a country who plays the long game and is uninterested in short term squabbles. But this time is unique. President Xi wants to create his own legacy. China is clearly the new superpower on the block. Now is their chance to send a message to the world and their citizens. On top of this, they have talked such a big game already about how they will take action if she comes. Equity markets are watching this closely, and they should. I think most people don't understand how big the stakes are here. One misstep, one miscalculation can send the situation spiraling out of control. Here's what can happen. Pelosi goes to Taiwan. China gets incredibly irritated. We will see more escalated talks. China has to save face and do something to show their strength, like flying jets into Taiwan airspace or shooting missiles in waters that are close by. President Biden will probably say he can't control Pelosi and that he wants peace. This is what should happen, and maybe for a few weeks there's going to be elevated rhetoric on both sides. The more dangerous scenario is if China sends a harsher message using its military. Both China and the US are not in good shape right now, so there's definitely incentive to keep things calm. The US has historic inflation, bitter infighting, rattled economy, and angry citizens who are upset about $5 gas and tightening personal budgets. China is facing a huge budget as well with their housing developers. People in China are purposely defaulting on mortgage payments as developers are unable to come through on their promised housing developments. Keep in mind, in China, the housing sector is about 50% of the economy. As always, we hope that logical minds prevail, but we got to see. Until then, expect a very tense stock market and a very tense world. This is my new channel, Enlighten Me Financially. Please hit the subscribe button, and I'll be sharing new content soon.